Here's what's cooking on the day's Sports Stove Local Hour. We continue our EKU football position previews. We're talking running backs with offensive coordinator and running back coach Andy Richman. And we're going to talk some more linebackers with the one and only Kylan Robinson. That's what's cooking on the day's Sports Stove Local Hour.
McKinney looks, steps into pocket, throws, open receiver, touchdown! Colonels, we're not done yet!
Our identity is we're going to press for 40 minutes, we're going to play up-tempo, we're going to play with unbelievable passion, and then our brand is the most exciting 40 minutes in sports.
Welcome into an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Local Hour presented by All Around Roofing. I'm excited for another week. I'm Vince Stover. I'm joined as I am each week by the one and only Ryan Jackson. Hey, Rhino, how you doing?
Doing all right today. Just trying to stay cool in the hot sun.
Yeah, it was cooler today than it has been, thankfully, but it did get warm still. I was up on a roof and I was feeling pretty good. And then after being up there for a few minutes, it was, the sun beating through my boots and foot was a little hot and then sweat a little bit. And I thought, man, this is not as fun as I was hoping it would be. But nonetheless, it was a little bit of a breeze today. Have you guys been mainly working in the mornings or are you outside both morning and afternoon?
See, that's the problem with being bigs at EKU at least. We have 3 different lift groups and lift times where we go skills, mids, and bigs. And the bigs are always at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so probably the hottest time of the day. Yeah. And the skills get lucky. I don't even know what time those little guys wake up and lift, but it's early.
Yeah. And if you were a kicker, you would come in first thing in the morning, probably eat a big breakfast, go out and hit 18 holes, come back and eat lunch.
They have a blast. I saw them coming back from practice today as everybody's going to the locker room. They're all leaving, got their clothes on, dry, all showered up, jealous.
You picked the wrong position, my friend.
So y'all look like some guys.
Yeah. Listen, last week we had a phenomenal show. Derek Day came on and gave us a lot of insight, especially, had some questions on the special team side of things and was able to give some answers there and really enjoyed that conversation with him. So if you missed last week's episode, make sure you go back and check it out. And then we also had Raymond White on to talk about the tickets, and he went into more than just tickets. We had a great conversation with him as well, and I appreciate both of those guys coming. Today, we've got a great show. Andy Richman, offensive coordinator. I'm excited to talk to him a little bit about the offensive system and what's in play this year with the, of course, the change at quarterback compared to what he had the rest of all of his previous time at EKU. And then we'll talk about the running back room. I'm excited to talk about these guys. Josh Carter is obviously the known as far as from especially us on the outside looking in. And I know you've got other guys, Braden Latham, Telly. Is that what you call Richelle McAllister? Telly, I remember Coach talking about him. Brady Hensley and Jalen Montgomery also in the room too. So we'll talk with Coach Richman about that. And then I'm really excited about Kylan Robinson. I remember a couple of years ago when he came in, there was a lot of expectation really that he could come in and play an important piece, and injuries and different things have happened. And that hasn't been the case yet. But it seems like from what I've heard, there's an expectation for Kylan this year to have a really good year and be a big time contributor for this defense. So I'm excited to talk about the linebacker rooms with Kylan a little bit as well on that. What has, if anything, progressed so far in summer practices? Because you guys have been now working for just a couple weeks back in place. And have you seen anything? We talked a little bit about there's changes in coaching staff and all that kind of stuff too. So there's some of these guys, it's the first time working with EKU through these summer practices. Has there been anything that you've seen progressing through these early summer practices?
It's definitely a change in the environment, a change in the community that we have around. I think the coaches that we brought in have been lovely, have been great pieces at positions that we really need to see even more improvement from. We've changed our whole strength program system to where, like I said, with the bigs, we have one of our own strength coaches. Y'all have to meet him. We'll have to get him on the show. Coach D, great guy. I would say it's been cool seeing the team grow, because we started off at kind of like, I don't want to say an infant stage, but a stage where nobody kind of knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell in our first team dinners and our first couple weeks coming through, it's a lot of new guys, a lot of new people in the system trying to get comfortable with each other. But after this, let's see, I think this is our 5th, 6th time having Smoking Jacks. That everybody loves it, and you can see more people playing cornhole, more people are playing cards, people are starting to grow and like learn each other, trying to figure out like what are you here for, and why did you come here? What is the reason? Like, are you just as committed as we are in this? And I think it's been good. Changes was something I know a bunch of me and my friends weren't used to. Mm-hmm. So when change came around, we were kind of scared, but it's something that's growing on us, and it's something that's very, very exciting, I would say, because it's thrilling seeing all these new people that come in. Who knows what type of scheme we're going to run? I'm excited for this season, and I think the overall room is super excited.
Do you find it easier or harder, being that you are the old man in the room now? And we talked about already that in your position group, you have guys, familiarity with those guys, but outside of your position group is where the majority of the change has taken place. Mm-hmm. So do you find it easier or harder, just again, being older, the veteran of the room, trying to meet these new guys, or do you kind of leave it on them to make themselves known?
It was probably hard at the start to get out of your comfort zone, because like I said, at team dinners, I play cards, and all my friends, we all play cards. So we sometimes get in this little bubble where we just hang out with ourselves because it's the people we're comfortable with. Yeah. But the challenge has been not only from Coach Wells, but also from all of our coaches to get out and get to know your teammates. Sit with somebody different every now and then. Hang out with somebody different every now and then. It don't always just have to be me, D-Bake, and Jeremiah and Gabe hanging out at one table. We can spread out the love and kind of get to learn and love our teammates. I think it's easy for me because I'm a chatty, friendly person, and I like finding out where all these people came from. But I know that's a hard thing for the team, and it's a hard thing for any team in the country that gets new people to try and adapt them into your culture, because you don't want to get out of your comfort zone and find out, they're not the guy we thought they were. They're not as committed as you thought you were, because that's the scared truth that you don't want to find out. But yeah. I think it's been good to go out and learn. Our coaches have done a good job of trying to make sure we learned our teammates. Like during spring ball, we had player introductions where we got to meet a lot of the new guys, and a lot of the new guys got to meet us. Some of the players board ideas, we've had creative ways to try and integrate the group and try and get everybody to learn each other's names. It's just a simple thing as learning each other's names goes a long way.
Yeah. Who is the new guy on offense that you've clicked with the best?
That's tough because it's a lot. And we didn't bring in that many new guys. Obviously the O-linemen, Liam and Nick Bryan, are probably the two I've gotten the closest with because they're in my lift groups. But honestly, the one I've connected the most with has to be Matt Morrissey. He's just such a positive spark to the team, always trying to work, always trying to find extra work. And I don't know. Once you'll talk to him, you'll find out he's just a happy, lovable guy.
Yeah.
He's a heck of a quarterback, heck of a leader. And I can't wait to see what he does this year.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think it probably helps age-wise. You guys are a little closer than some of the new guys that come in that are, it's hard to believe, isn't it, Ryan? You get to this age where 18 years old, all of a sudden you go, man, that guy's young.
Yeah. I watched Kyle Baca the other day, one of our young freshmen.
Yeah.
I think he was on the phone. I don't know if he saw me, but he was on the phone with somebody telling him that they got cold tubs, they got hot tubs, they got all this cool stuff. And I was like, man, I remember 2020 coming in and not knowing what any of that stuff was either, and how excited I was to call my dad. So it's crazy seeing all that go full circle. Yeah,
that's cool. And shout out, by the way, his dad interacts with us some on social media as well. So we appreciate it. I tell you, that's one thing that's been really cool is having these parents reach out and just communicate, watching the show and things like that. So that's really cool. All right, well, let's get into our guests here today. Our guest segments are presented by righteousfelon.com. And let's see here. I got it somewhere in here. I always forget to push the right buttons. And righteousfelon.com. Join the flavor revolution. Use the code STOVE15 at checkout. You're going to get 15% off your purchase as well. Joining us now on the show is the offensive coordinator. He's also the running back coach. He's the one and only Andy Richman. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Are you enjoying all your free time this summer?
Oh, free. It's coming up soon, hopefully. So yeah. Let's say it's a little easier now, but
sure.
Yeah, pretty soon we got a little bit of time.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we mainly want to talk to you about running backs today, but we would be amiss if we do not talk to you about the offense as well. It is different this year for everyone, but especially for the offensive side of the ball, because with Parker graduating out after his 37 years at the university, you've got some guys that you've worked with, of course, but now you're looking at opening the season with a different starting quarterback than you've had to start with in your time at EKU. So let's start with that. The fun of, I would assume there's some things that are changing up, and the fun of kind of looking back at your system and figuring out what's going to be best for this year. What was that process like?
Yeah, no, it actually has been kind of fun. We had something that kind of fit with the guys that we had, and Parker obviously, and that type of stuff. And we're gonna have different people, but that's the college game for sure. It changes all the time, right? So, got to be able to adapt. Got to be able to do some different things. We've got a quarterback situation going on, and that's been fun to watch and see those guys develop and do all that. And obviously they have some different intangibles that both of them have. So we're going to tailor, once we get a little bit closer to that, we're going to tailor our offense a little bit more to that type of stuff. You'll see some of still our base, identity and philosophy and all that, but I think you are going to see some different additions to the playbook that you haven't seen, before. So, but that's been good. We have lost some, that's the thing, guys have success, you do well, and there's graduation and there's transfers and there's all that stuff. So there's always going to be that ever changing. And I kind of like the challenge of, hey, let's find something new. Let's do something a little bit different. Let's give some other people something different to look at too. I think that can be an advantage sometimes also. Definitely.
Is your goal to find one guy as far as the quarterback goes? And if not, well, I don't know how much you can give us on that, but I'll ask it this way and you can tell me however you want to answer. You're a smart man. So is your goal to find one guy to be the guy, or do you look at the talent that you have this year and think maybe it's best if we somewhat use a dual quarterback system?
I've always been one. I'd like to find one guy if we can, because I think it gives the confidence in that person, and it gives the confidence to the whole offense. But I have been part of it before, where in other times that you have packages and you have other situations that you bring the other person in, and I'm not at all against being able to do that either. And I think that's a good thing, because like I said, they have some different things they can do and some different strengths and weaknesses and intangibles. So I think using one over the other at different times is going to give you a whole new look. So I think that's something that, we can maybe use some of those change-ups on times on some of the defenses and give them a little bit something different. But yeah, a lot of times you like to get down to one, because, it's really important with the offensive line verbally hearing the same things from the guy back there. The receivers knowing exactly what that guy's thinking and where he's going to put the ball and all that stuff. So there is the advantages of really trying to get down to one for the most part.
Last thing I'll ask you about the quarterbacks is how does that conversation go between you and quarterback coach and Coach Wells, as far as, because you obviously want to complete and finish your system, what you're going to do this year as early as possible. So what is that conversation and that how you guys work together to figure out how are we going to determine this quarterback battle?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's constant communication actually. So with everything we're doing and seeing and all that stuff, from the spring through now to, however long it takes here in training camp and that kind of stuff, we have a little grading system, and they're graded every day and evaluated every day. And we literally, between the three of us, have a conversation every day on how they've done and where it looks like we're going and kind of putting that stuff together. So, I think we're, obviously we're getting closer and closer and like to see where it goes here pretty early in camp.
Ryan, what do you have for Coach Richman specifically about the offense?
Coach, so since I've been here in my 5 years, you're one of the most adamant coaches on practicing and building good practice habits. So why do you deem practice so important?
I deem practice so important because I want to make Saturdays the easiest for you. So I want you to be able to, see it during the week. I don't want a lot of surprises. Is something going to happen? Yes, there's no question. But I want to limit the possible surprises. I want to limit the stuff that you haven't seen. I want to make that experience much easier and much more enjoyable on Saturday than getting there on Saturday and being like, oh, I didn't see this, I didn't know this, he didn't say that. All of a sudden, hey, I don't know what to do. So that kind of situation there. So, and if you build it all week, if you've been doing that all week, it makes it second nature when you're playing the game. So that's why I think it really starts early. It starts in that week of practice. It starts in training camp. It starts all there. So that happens when it comes to that time.
Coach, you got as well. I'm getting ready to get to the running backs, I promise. But
Yeah.
we talked with Coach Day about this too, with the change of staff this year. Really, the first time we've had this much transition with the staff, and so now you're working with some guys that maybe you haven't worked with before. I don't know. Brady came in a little late. Eric came in a little bit late on the offensive line as well. And what has that been like for you to have some new voices, some new opinions, maybe in the offensive planning and all that kind of stuff? Has it been good, re-energizing? What has that process been like?
Yeah, no, I think it's been re-energizing. You get some different ideas from different places, and we try not to be stagnant when you're someplace for a while and all that, and you battle that by going and visiting and doing different things and talking to people and all that stuff. But it's good to have somebody come in from the outside and be in some different situations with different people they've been with and come in with a lot of different ideas. Eric just coming in, he's already, as I'm trying to teach him and bone him up on the offense here a little bit, he's had some questions. Well, why? Or have you ever thought about it this way? And that's good to have, to where maybe we kind of just would have been kind of just going our same path, So, yeah.
I love it. Let's get to the running backs, because I'm really excited about this group. Me and Ryan have talked a little bit about it already. Obviously, it's no secret Braden Sloan's gone, and
Yes.
obviously that's a hit. There's no doubt about that. And but Josh Carter, I mean, we've seen what he can do. And I know you've got other guys, but I want to start with Josh because he's the guy that we know the best from the outside looking in. How excited are you for the opportunity that Josh is going to have this year?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. So I think he's really taken the charge with this. I've been really happy with his preparation, his mindset going into this. His leadership is picked up even more, as a whole. He's kind of the guy in the room. I feel like sometimes I don't have to be there, and I know that he can talk to those guys and coach those guys up and get them going with what we need to do and get done. I really think so. I think him getting slightly a little bit more load than he has, I think will probably allow him to get into even a little bit more of a rhythm, in that run game, and that kind of stuff. I think we'll be able to also even explore some of his abilities in the pass game. He could catch. He had a decent amount of catches for us last year and did some things, but there's no qualms about it. Braden was really explosive out there, and we used him a lot in those situations a little bit more. And now Josh is going to get some more of those opportunities. So, and I think that's something he's going to be able to do and really get better at and go from there. And he's a guy that I know everybody does, but really when he talks about it and he lives it, he really wants to be able to do all of it and get there because he's seen it. He wants to go to that next level,
Yeah.
So, and he lives it all the way through.
Do you see that? I may have asked you this before, but you got Josh, whose brother plays in the NFL. You've got Jacob Horn, the receiver, whose brother plays in the NFL. His dad played in the NFL. You've got guys who have that lineage there. Is Josh able to bring that? I mean, you kind of mentioned it already, but the fact that his brother's doing it right now where he can look at and say, I know this is what has to be done.
Oh, there's no question. That's an advantage, being able to see that, right? And somebody going through it. So, I think seeing that has been a definite advantage for him. And I think the big thing is when he talks to everybody now, and I could be wrong, but I think when he talks to everybody, I mean, they know that he's seen it. He knows he's got somebody that, he lived with that's doing it. I think it brings some validity to him saying some of that stuff, right? So, then somebody just talking about it and hasn't had any experience, right? So,
yeah,
and doing that. So, yeah, no, that's been very big.
Ryan, what do you got for coach on the running back room?
See, it's hard because the running back room is probably the people I despise the most. They get out of the way when I try and tackle them. So I don't really want to talk about them. But, Coach, I do have to ask because my offensive knowledge is probably about a flag football game or two.
Mm-hmm.
When it's drawing up plays, how is it like calling your own plays or calling plays, and how are they seeing them executed in the game?
The biggest thing I enjoy, I heard somebody say it one time and they explained it really, really well, I thought. And the same thing I kind of thought. It's a chess or checkers game in a sense, right? And it's kind of nice knowing that you're going in with a plan and you spent all that time putting that together and getting it done. Things you saw, believed and were going to, and then you call it in the game and it works, right? It's one of those, you jump the person, you just got kinged, you just checkmated somebody, you know what I mean? It's nice to be able to go in there and see some of that work, to be honest with you, and just know that you were on the right track and all that time you put in, paid off, right?
Coach, tell us about the other guys in the running back room, because a couple of them have been around at least a short amount of time, and the other guys we're going to get to know. I know that we're still early in the summer, but who are you seeing stepping up, and how do you see that? I mean, because that is a legit battle for look at the receiver room, you look at the running back room, guys trying to get on the field. What are you seeing from the rest of the guys?
Yeah, I mean, shoot. I mean, you just talked about we lost a guy, and I still think we got guys battling to like you said, to get on the field and do it. So I mean, that's a good thing, doing that. But I think two guys I kind of see right now offhand. Some of the other guys are younger and probably need to see a little bit more. But Braden Latham obviously is a guy that. Heck, man, he's 100 miles per hour all the time when he goes, so he gives a ton of effort. He's got a great skill set, fast. When he can get in the open field, he can get going, catches the ball really well. He's probably actually in my room now the most natural catcher that I have, to be honest with you, in that. So we're going to need to use him in different ways to exploit that. He's a little bit bigger guy too, so that helps a little bit there. And then Telly Richell McAllister. So he's been banged up a little bit, right? So last year he was out the whole year and coming back and he was a pleasant surprise in the spring. We didn't know how soon he was going to be able to catch up with the game and the playbook and all that kind of stuff. And he was one of those great to see, man. He grew every practice, he got better every practice and went on to, we're actually right now he's in a battle for it right now. So, doing that, I think that's going to be the two right there. Yeah. The coveted spot is that number 2 spot right now. So that there's a heck of a battle going on there. We brought on Jalen Montgomery from Middle Tennessee State. He's a scatty guy and got some really good speed and some good skills, but I just haven't seen a ton of yet. And then we'll have a couple younger guys in.
How do you have a battle? Because pretty much what you have is practice. I mean, in the NFL, you get at least some games, but how do you determine and how do you impress this on guys that come into the program? Hey, you're going to have limited opportunity to show what you have. What do you use? How do you measure that to find out who's going to get those spots?
Yeah. I mean, I rotate them pretty good through practice. Pretty much nobody will ever get more than maybe 3 reps in a row. A lot of times it's 2. So I rotate them pretty heavily, to keep them fresh too, but also to do that, to see them in different situations. And I will rotate them around between, maybe the first unit, the starting guys to the second unit and that type of stuff. So they'll have plenty of opportunities. They all come out with pretty much close to the same amount of reps. So, and then they're graded every day and all that. So that's kind of the battle. And then obviously it comes down to the scrimmages. So, how well they do in our big scrimmages and what they've been able to put forth. And then it's never they know. I think the other thing they know in the room is sometimes just because the guys have done so well, we haven't had a lot of movement and changing, but they believe that if they don't, that depth chart can change at any point in time. So, so they're always making sure they're ready to go and playing and battling and that kind of stuff. I'll be honest, as much as we've had in here and that kind of stuff, I think the group gets along really well, and they like each other, and majority of them stuck around here for the most part and doing that. And you're right. And not a lot of them had even a ton of playing time, to be honest. So,
right.
Yep.
Ryan, what else you got for Coach?
That's really all I got. I kind of can't wait to compete against him again, because me and Coach Richman always have this ongoing debate about me playing center, because in case he ever really needs me, I'm right there.
Yep. I'm telling you what, I'm going to say this now because Coach Wells ain't on here right now. But, yeah, I mean, anytime you're ready, you let me know. All right. So.
All right, Coach, I got one more question for you. You're not allowed to dodge this answer, okay? You have to answer.
Oh, okay.
All right. So you're getting ready to call a run play. You look at the D-line. All right. Who you attacking right now? You got Ryan straight up the middle. What you got? Marvion on one side, maybe Jeremiah or D-Bake on the other side, however you have it set up there. Who are you going to attack in the run game?
I'm going to go on Marvion or I think is where I'm going to go. Yep.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I like
it can't be Ryan right now,
no.
right? I mean, it can't be.
No, I mean, you're probably going to have him triple teamed anyhow. So,
yeah,
you'll be going around.
Depends on down in
it's hard. It's hard in the middle there now.
Yeah. I love it. Coach, we appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you taking some time for us tonight. We're excited to see what Josh does, what the running back room does, and what the offense as a whole does. I know you got your work cut out for you this year, and we're excited to see what you do with the talent that you have and see how the team plays out, especially on offense this year. So, Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no question. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. That's Coach Andy Richman there, and the offense coordinator, of course, the running back coach as well. All right, I think we're ready for guest number 2. I know at least we were a moment ago. A reminder that our guest interviews are presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. You can visit righteousfelon.com. Use the code STOVE15 at checkout. You're going to get 15% off your purchase. Our next guest is a linebacker. We're excited to see what he's going to do this year. He's been in the program for a couple of years. He is Kylan Robinson. Hey, Kai, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, how you doing? What's going on, yo guys?
We're doing great, man.
Yeah.
I want to start off by saying, first of all, I don't talk to a ton of people in the program, but the people that I've talked to in the program, when I brought up linebacker, inside linebacker specifically, are really excited about what's ahead for you this year. How are you feeling, and what are you looking forward to in this coming season?
Honestly, in a short amount of words, I can truly say it's been a long time coming. For me and this EKU football team, and more specifically this EKU defense, it's just been a long time coming for us all. And like, man, it's just a bundle of emotions, man. Like, I'm just ready to get out there and display what I can do, what we can as a defensive unit do. I'm just ready to display it all and show everyone we're pretty much the old EKU with the Roy Kidd era and all of that. We're bringing that back, and I'm very confident in that. Honestly, like the way we're gelling together, the way we're sticking together as a team, it's kind of exciting to see. And coming from a player's aspect, like I said, I'm just ready to see how we really perform, because that's what matters most, performance, But
now, I've talked with Ryan a little bit about this, and when you talk about the way that you're talking right now, I think it's fair to say it has been a little bit of a disappointment at times throughout the last couple of years.
Most definitely,
yeah. You've had some games where the run game really beat you guys up. That was 2 years ago, especially. Times where the pass game, whatever it may be. It sounds like you're taking it personal.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. Especially with like my background, my story, what I had, my journey to get to this specific point here is very personal for me. I can't even lie to you, man. It's exciting to think about, especially like now that I'm in the forefront of it and I see how far I came. It's very personal for me to make sure that this season really counts and every play matters for us. And it's important to prove that for each of us, honestly.
Would you be willing to share your journey? Because I know it's quite the journey.
So when I first came here, I would like to start off. First off, I'm a JUCO transfer. I came from Northwest Mississippi Community College about 3 years ago now. I came here January of 2021. And like as I got here, things were going pretty good for me on the defensive side of the ball. You know, everything was going good. Had a nice spring and all. And I just had a minor, or not a minor, but I had a injury for me. It was a torn labrum in my left shoulder. And that kind of devastated me pretty bad, honestly. And the plan for me was, honestly, I wanted to play my 4 games into my red shirt. And then after that, just get my surgery and red shirt for the rest of the season. This was back in 2021. So things were going good, got through fall camp, and it was game 1, everything's going good. We're all playing, teams looking pretty good. We're doing pretty good around this time. And we get to game 4. So we get to game 4. I already have a torn labrum in my shoulder, and I'm expecting to miss the rest of the season. But now I carry on to tear my ACL in the middle of practice on a Tuesday, actually. And I get that torn ACL. That's actually also, I tore my ACL the same week of my surgery for my shoulder. That's what really, that's something that really had me kind of tripping, I guess you could say. So I end up tearing my ACL. And I get through that situation. We get to the surgery for my shoulder, find out about the ACL, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, that's pretty tough, but I just got to sit down, take it to the chin, and, keep working, keep progressing. So I finally get through that. I'd say probably 5 months outside of my ACL, or outside of my labrum surgery. I'm sorry. After that surgery, I'd say about 5 months in, I prepared for my ACL surgery. And once I got that, that's pretty much where life changed. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I thought the shoulder surgery was tough until I got to the knee. And that's when I learned, like, it's really start from ground zero and you got to work your way up. And when I say work your way up, I literally mean I had to learn how to walk again. And man, that was truly a humbling experience for me to not even be able to fully shower and bathe myself properly, to just fast forward into now. It's just all been a journey for me. So yeah, I get through the ACL surgery. Now I'm 9 months, So I missed my first season, get my ACL surgery. Now I'm back on the forefront of looking at 9 months. I got 9 months before I'm back to healthy. And this, unfortunately, it took away my second year here at EKU. But with that, I got to see a lot of learning experiences, I must say. Like from the Cincinnati game to our very last game, I can honestly say I learned something from each of those games while being hurt. And I appreciate each of those. So like, it's just being able to go through that. Like at first it seemed like the worst thing that could happen to me, having 2 back-to-back surgeries. Anybody that hears that, it would sound like something pretty crazy to them. But for me, it was really my biggest blessing in disguise, man. Like, I appreciate Coach Wells even to this day. I still thank him for it. Like, man, just to keep a player after 2 surgeries is major to me. So back to the question, when you ask, would this season be personal to me? Yes, it's very personal, honestly, because Coach Wells seen a light in me that not many other coaches probably would see if I was in these same situation with them, And so, yeah, I feel like the least I could do is show Coach Wells that this defense, this EKU unit will be one of the best that he's ever coached. And, I really feel confident in it. I really feel confident in it, man.
Man, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Ryan, I know you're a Kylan Robinson fan.
Yeah.
What you got for Kai?
Yeah, not only will the season be personal for all of us, I know the first game will be very personal for Kylan, being from Mississippi. And Kylan, the real question is, how do you feel about playing in the hometown, and how many tickets do we need to go ahead and get ready to get you?
How do I feel about coming back to the hometown, man? This is nothing more than just a homecoming for myself, and man, I'm ecstatic for it. Like the mid skills, the linebackers, tight ends, we label those players as the mid skills. I can't lie to you, Mr. Vince. Pretty much every day we're talking about game 1. We're talking about the entire season, but specifically game 1, we're going to highlight that and make sure that we set the tone for the rest of the season by how we perform with that game 1, man. So I don't want to go too much into how much this means to me. I'm going to let my play, and I'm just going to let Saturday, August 31st speak for myself. But for this EKU team, I can honestly say I've never seen us more confident, more ready than the game. And we're only into June. Like, we still have July and August to get through before we're even, at game 1. But, like, I really feel like this team, we are overly prepared for what's to come for us. Especially Mississippi State unit.
Kylan, we got people commenting in right now.
Yeah, that's
Yolanda
my
Williams.
auntie right there. Hey,
Let's
Auntie Londa,
go.
how you doing?
We gotta get
Auntie's
her.
there. How about
Yeah.
Miss Bailey? Way to go. Way to battle, Kylan. Right there, Jeremiah's mom. And then, of course,
Yeah.
Coach Ron is there as well. So, man, everybody, you're getting everybody pumped, man.
Yeah.
And, and again, I've talked with Ryan. I know Ryan, too, is confident in this season. But from the outside world, are you hearing the noise from the outside world that's kind of saying the expectation is a lot lower this year because, the last 2 years, it was like, and the outside expectation was playoffs or bust. This year, it seems like the community is kind of like, we'll see. I don't know how good they're going to be.
Yeah.
Do you hear that, and how do you react to that?
Honestly, since I've touched down in Richmond, Kentucky, I've been in my own bubble of EKU football and EKU football only. So I can't really tell you that I've heard too much of the outside noise about what's to come this season. But honestly, if they want to lower the expectations for us, that's just making it easier for us to, overdo the expectation, and that's all we're worried about, honestly. We're going to take it game by game and make sure we dominate, do what we need to do as an EKU football unit, and we know the rest is going to play its part. Like, I can't just sit here and say I don't blame them for thinking how they do, because last season it was kind of a disappointment. Yeah. But again, that was 2023. Here we are in 2024. We got a new unit, new team. And I'm just, like I said, I'm ready for us to display what we can truly do as a unit, offensively, defensively, and special teams. Like, I really feel like we have a special group here.
I love the schedule, the way it breaks out for the first 4 games for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So at Mississippi State, SEC opponent on the road, your homecoming. That's great. Then you go to Western Kentucky, which is huge for the fan base, obviously, of EKU. Then you get a conference game week 3 against West Georgia. And then you get an in-state game against Moorhead right after that. So the first 4 games all have significance just to the fan base, let alone you guys as well. So it's exciting to see how that schedule plays out this year. Kylan, tell me a little bit about the room that you guys got. Of course, you've got Kyle Kelly back. You got Jalen Harrod back. But tell me about these linebackers, especially that are in that inside linebacker role.
Man, that linebacker room, I must tell you, even to this day, I'm still kind of like sitting in the back of my chair, kind of nervous, because honestly, I can say nobody is safe with their linebacker 1 position. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, there is honestly a lot of competition in that room, which is a great thing, because whoever the starter is, when they come off the field, we're replacing that starter with another starter or another starting caliber linebacker, And I know I'm a little off track, but I really feel like that's our entire defense, man. We really have a lot of competition across the table. I'm gonna really back into the linebacker room. We had just added a real stud of a linebacker, Braden Sullivan. He came in over the summer, and man, he's going to be something exciting to watch. He's going to be pretty good to watch, man. I can't lie to you. Kyle Kelly, awesome. Maddox Marcellus, all of us, we're all going to have a pretty good year this season, man. I can't lie to you. That linebacker room, especially since the linebacker is seen as the quarterback of that defense, I can truly say I feel like all of us have the capabilities and like the talent to really lead this unit to where we need to go. So yeah, that linebacker room, man, we're pretty stacked in there. It's gonna be exciting to watch. A lot of hard hitters, a lot of people not scared to make that play. Nobody's scared to step up and make that big play, and that's really important if you ask me for that linebacker role.
Yeah, definitely. We got some more folks. Little Wanda.
That's my mama right there. I love you, mama. Shout out to you, all the way from South Haven, Mississippi. I love you, mama.
I love it, man. Lee Robinson jumps in as well.
Yep. Hey, Granny, how you doing?
Look at you, man. You bring in the crowd. I'm just going to have you on every week. You and Ryan just take over the show for me, okay?
I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Maxine. Oh yeah, it's a family event right here. That's why, like I said, Mississippi State will definitely be a big game.
Tell me about your support system, because you talked about you went through some hard times with the injuries and just overcoming all of that. Well, what's your support system like?
So honestly, I can say pretty much the majority of my immediate family has always been to every football game, any major moment going on in life, they've been there for me. But to just speak specifically on football, my support system has been big for me. One thing I can truly say is I've never had a time being a football player where I felt alone. There's been times where I thought I was alone, I can say, but like I've always had my mother, father, grandfather, aunts, uncles, cousins. I've always had somebody that could talk to me, speak some type of wisdom to me to just help me keep going. Because for me, sometimes when times get hard, I just want to shut out the world, shut out and get into my own shell. And my family won't allow that. They're always going to be there. I have some people that will truly like sit there and talk to me and help me figure out stuff that I don't even know what's going on. And that's really brought me a long way, because those surgeries, man, one thing I can tell you, I had some dark times during both of those surgeries, not just one, but both of them, honestly. I went to a dark place, and it took for my parents. My parents literally had to come out and just stay the night with me for a couple nights here in Kentucky. And home is about 7.5, 8 hours away, about 6.5, 7 hours away, actually. And they make their drive and they will stay with me for a couple nights. And it was around that time where I realized, like, there's really a bigger picture behind this surgery. It's really a purpose behind all of this. And man, that support system, my family and my friends, they really brought me a long way. They really brought me a long way. Those days that I get tired and I'm hurting, I remember, like, I got people that want to show up to a football game and watch me. Or like, I got people that's really coming up to support me. People that they're not betting the bank on me, but they're betting the bank on me. And it means a lot to me. I take that personally. It touches the heart for me.
Man, that's awesome. We got more rolling in, by the way. Crystal pops in.
My aunt right there.
There you go. And Oscar's watching too, just so you know.
Oscar, hey, be safe, Oscar. Come on, that dog.
Man, I love this. Ryan, what else you got for Kylan?
Kylan actually has another unique experience. A lot of the people on this team.
Oh man.
We'll talk about the lake later. But how does it feel to not only how does it feel to be on the same team with somebody that came from the same school as you?
Oh, yes. Oh, I have a teammate, Jacob Horn. We both came from the same junior college of Northwest Mississippi. And man, honestly, that's probably one of the best things this coaching staff could have done. Just to have somebody that I know relates to me 1,000%. Like, it's no question about it. We came from the same coaching staff, same schooling system, and we got introduced to the same coaching staff, same system. It was refreshing for me. Like, if I had no one else to talk to, I know I could go to Jacob Horn and we could speak, and we would relate pretty much every time about what's going on. And man, like I said, it was just refreshing to see. I was glad to know that these coaches trusted my junior college enough to go and recruit another player. And he's gonna have a pretty big season this year too. Like, it's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good.
Keep it going, Ryan. This is your interview now.
Oh, well, then we can also share. Me and Kylan got a common story. I think it was our first year, or his first year. Coach Wells has this little place that he takes us to the lake every now and then.
Every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then. And Kylan has recently been added back to our players board group after having all his side hustles or side dilemmas. And we have I would like Kylan to explain the first time, because I think the first time we went to, me and him talked about it, kind of spiraled his career.
Oh man, this here was a rough time, honestly. This was probably rougher than me having both of my surgeries, now that I think about it. But we have this thing called the players board for the football team, and basically it's just it's like a leadership council for the football team, players that go off to learn how to lead properly, And as Ryan said, for this specific day, we go out to a lake and we'll have a leadership conference. He'll have a speaker. We all just speak, share different stories. Why do we play football? So on and so forth. And we also go to the lake. This time that we went to the lake, for one, this was my first time ever going to a lake, like ever having a lake day. So it was a heck of an experience. So we have this water tube that we're riding on, man, and I'm sitting on the back of it for the entire day. I'm having a pretty good time. I'm holding on pretty tight. I got my phone in my hand. I'm recording, trying to be all cool and stuff. I'm recording myself on the lake, recording me riding on top of the little water tube. And man, tell me why, like, later on in that day, I'm doing the same thing, and I just flip over and completely go AWOL. Like, completely AWOL, man. I lose my pants, I lose my underwear, my phone falls in the water, I lose my shades that I had on I'm talking about everything. I'm sitting there just holding on. I'm holding on by the strength of God to the water tube, hoping I don't fall off, man.
He got the life jacket on. He's like, hey, bro, I just lost everything.
Yeah. So I tell my coach to stop the boat, man. I go swimming trying to find my pants because obviously I can't get on the boat because my pants and my underwear are gone. So I'm sitting there, I'm sitting floating with my life jacket trying to find my pants, man. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, forget the phone. I'll figure out what to do about the cell phone later, but I got to get the pants.
Yeah.
My pants are probably about 7 to 10 feet away from me. I finally get those on, get on the boat, and I was just like, man, I don't have a phone, you know. It's pretty much, I was probably about the last person to ride on the ride and stuff, so we were getting ready to head back. So this whole ride, I'm just sitting here really trying to process the fact that I just lost all of my clothes, my shades, and my phone.
He came so excited.
That was a time, man. That was a time.
And you went back to the lake. So how did trip number 2 go?
So trip number 2, I was smarter, you know. It's my second time to the lake now, second lake day. I made sure to wear some pants with some laces on them so I could tie them up, man. That was step number 1 for me. Make sure to have the pants with the laces. So I laced those up, make sure that was straight. And also my phone never ever even came close to the water, never even left the boat, if we're being completely honest, man. I had to make sure we didn't repeat anything from that last trip.
Yeah.
So once I wanted to make sure I really got through the trip before I bragged about not losing anything. So once we finally got off of the boat, you know, for good, honestly, for me, it was a sigh of relief. I was like, man, I made it, you know, made it to the end. It was a nice accomplishment for me, but the lake day itself was pretty fun. Us and the teammates, we ended up climbing a cliff and we jumped off. It was honestly great for the team bonding experience. Yeah.
There you go. Richard Askew comments as well. Like I said, Ryan,
Uncle Richard.
We're gonna have to get Kylan back on. This is too good. All right, what else you got, Ryan?
I just had to relive
that. You had to make sure that story got out.
The lake story. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for EK1.
I appreciate that, fam. If nobody knows, Ryan, you know what this season's about to bring, brother. You know what this season's about to bring.
You changed your number this year, correct?
No, not really. I've been the same number since the spring of 2 years ago. I changed my number when I first got here, and I've been number 8 since then.
Okay. Does it have a meaning for you, or is it just the number you like?
It's just the number I like, honestly. Okay. Yeah, but it's a slight meaning to it. It's kind of off. But I have an aunt that died back in September. She died, I want to say September of 2017, 2018. My aunt Catherine. She died of breast cancer, and I knew it was around that time. I didn't get the number because of her, but around that same time is when I had the number. And when I got that number, I just told myself I would never forget about my Aunt Catherine, because breast cancer, as we know, breast cancer sucks, and that's just something. Yeah. It's a memorial for her. And now that comes up, I'd like to say rest in peace to my Aunt Catherine. She was a beautiful soul, had some wonderful cheese spaghetti, and must I admit, I'm not gonna lie. Every Sunday, that was definitely a stop before church to get some of that good breakfast. But yeah.
I do have one more question, actually.
I love it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Kylan, since we're going back to Mississippi, I've heard all the jazz about the food there. Where would be one of the best, if we got to stop for a day or a night, where would be one of the best spots to go?
Dixie Queen. Hands down, Dixie Queen.
What's there?
Yes.
What type of
what? If there was a food that I was told to like help you guys pick out, I would say go up there and get a 10-piece honey gold. 10-piece honey gold. And you're gonna love every bit of it. You might go back for another 10-piece, honestly. Because it's one of those spots you come back, you're gonna get your bag. It's nice and greasy at the bottom. You're gonna see the grease stains, hot French fries, and you might it might be a little wait for the food, but it's gonna be worth it. It's
worth the wait.
Worth it.
I love it. Hey, worth the wait. That's the theme for this year for Kylan Robinson.
Yes,
worth the wait. Man, I'm so pumped. I'll tell you what. I've had I enjoyed the lake story, but I enjoyed all of it. This has been a lot of fun, Kylan. And like I said, I was talking to some people back right before the summer and was just trying to kind of get some information on the team and all this kinds of stuff. And your name kept coming up on the defensive side of the ball about a guy that, man, you want to watch a guy this year. This is the guy you need to watch. So I'm really excited for you. and hoping for a great year individually for you. Obviously, hoping for a great year for the team as well, all through that. And of course, you got a pretty exciting start to your year going home to Mississippi as well. So, Kylan, thank you so much, man. I'm going to have you back on at some point this season because
I'm excited to come back. Most definitely.
Yeah,
Don't hesitate.
We will do it. I promise. Kylan Robinson, linebacker, EKU. Thanks, man. Really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate both of you guys, honestly. Ryan, back to it, man. You know it.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right, Kylan Robinson again, and my soul, was that fun. And a reminder that all of our guests are presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Go to righteousfelon.com. Use that code STOVE15. You're going to get 15% off your purchase. Our entire program is presented by All Around Roofing, that's locally owned here in Central Kentucky. Handles all the exterior of your home, so roofing replacements or repairs, siding, windows, gutters, whatever it may be. They'll take care of you. And as a matter of fact, you can have me come out and check out your house right now, as I've partnered with All Around Roofing, not only with the podcast over the last couple of years, but I'm actually now working with them too. So if you live in Central Kentucky and you want to chat EKU sports, just call All Around Roofing. I'll come out and check out your house. We can talk EKU as well. Ryan, my soul, man, this was a blast. A lot of fun. I'm excited. We're going to continue this in the weeks ahead. Next week, the plan is, I've already forgotten. Let's see here. Next week, the plan is O-line, D-line is what we're looking at next week. So we've got a new coach to meet, actually 2 new coaches to meet. I have not met either one of these guys yet. So hopefully both of them will be on, and then we'll get a player on as well next week. So that's going to be a lot of fun for sure. And looking forward to that. So are you ready for another hot summer practice tomorrow?
Always. That's the most exciting part. Anytime you get to go to practice is a time to get better. So
how do you guys maintain weight practicing like this?
You got to eat a lot. You do have to eat a lot. Our snack is a hefty one. And and of course you got to eat on your own a little bit. Coach Brown suggests eating about, this is crazy for most normal people, about 6 meals a day.
Wow.
Especially for the big guys, and they need to be full of carbs and full of protein. To maintain your weight, you got to know what weight you're comfortable at, what weight you're athletic at, and then find a way to maintain that.
Well, I'll tell you, I've had no problem maintaining my weight. I need to work the other direction. I don't work out quite like you guys do, so I need to work on that myself. But hey, another fun show. Thank you everyone for listening today, by the way, for checking in. We always appreciate it. If you enjoyed the program, we'd love for you to share it wherever you can, social media, whatever like that, as well. And we appreciate the support. We've had great support from the EKU parents, especially, and from the community too. But I've loved getting to meet a few of the parents over the years and things like that too. So we appreciate that. Appreciate you letting us borrow your children for a few years here in Richmond as well. All right. Well, Ryan, we're going to call it a day. You can follow us on social media at Sports Stove on Twitter and Instagram if you don't already. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind, throw us a subscribe and a thumbs up on the video. That really helps us out. We'd appreciate that, of course, as well. Next week, we continue with the offensive line and defensive line preview. That's going to be a fun one. I know I was like talking about the guys in the room with Ryan, and the guys are going up against all at the same time. And by the way, Coach Richman, so wise to say he's going to go after Marvion and not you. So that's smart.
Idea. Even though Marvin was slouch either. Our whole front, it was a bad answer. I mean, you shouldn't run the ball. You shouldn't even try. Probably throw it, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I told him he had the answer though, so he gave us that, so I appreciate that as well. All right, listen, if you like baseball, every Sunday night I host a fantasy baseball show, the Sports Stove Fantasy Baseball Show, 8 p.m. on the Sports Stove YouTube page. And Wednesday night, my dad joins me. We just talk general sports coverage, sports talk, and right here on the Sports Stove YouTube channel as well. So feel free to tune into those also. But we greatly appreciate your watching the Sports Stove Local Hour tonight. Thanks to All Around Roofing and Righteous Felon for their support of the program as well. And a big shout out to Andy Richman and to Kylan Robinson for the interviews tonight also. All right. Well, until next time, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.